I'm Dr. Lishan Aklog. I'm the chairman and CEO of Lucid Diagnostics. Lucid is a cancer prevention company that has technologies that are groundbreaking and able to detect esophageal precancer as a method to decrease the incidence of esophageal cancer. The three most deadly cancers, pancreatic cancer, esophageal cancer, and liver cancer, actually more people die of those three cancers that we rarely speak about than breast and colon cancer combined. And that's because those cancers, we've had appropriate early detection programs that have cut down on the mortality rates over the last 30 years by about 50%. Those three deadly cancers, pancreatic, esophageal, and liver, have not benefited from those types of technologies that allow early detection. And that's now changed for one of the three. So esophageal cancer, now there is technology similar to the technologies that are available for other cancers that can detect a precancerous condition. So there's technology now available in the form of a molecular diagnostic test called EsoGuard that uses a office-based 2-minute cell collection tool where you collect cells in an office, no anesthesia, and you can detect with a really unprecedented degrees of accuracy even the earliest stages of esophageal precancer. So you can intervene by doing surveillance and intervening prior to developing cancer and prevent what are entirely preventable tragic deaths that happen about 16,000 times a year. The tool, the cell collection tool, is a very clever technology that's an alternative to an endoscopy. An endoscopy is a pretty invasive thing. You go in, two people have to take the day off of work, it's under anesthesia, sedation, and you have to swallow this big camera and they take biopsies and so forth. So as an alternative to that, we have a device called EsoCheck, which has a vitamin pill-sized capsule. It's got a piece of silicone, kind of spaghetti, a little soft piece of silicone that it's tethered to. And that capsule has, at the end of it, a balloon, a very soft silicone balloon with some soft ridges on it. What that allows you to do is to swallow the capsule, just like you would be swallowing a pill. No anesthesia, no sedation, in an office setting, or we have nurses and nurse practitioners who perform this thousands of times a quarter. Without any cameras, without any x-rays, you're actually getting the cells from exactly where you need to get them. Anatomically targeted, protected sample where these abnormalities, these very subtle abnormalities in the earliest stages of the precancer occur. And that whole thing takes 2 minutes. And it's become very, very simple. And it's actually now recommended in the guidelines by the gastroenterology societies as an acceptable equivalent alternative to endoscopy. So that's part one, you get the cells. And then where the magic really happens from a scientific point of view, and really the cutting edge here, is next generation sequencing of the DNA in the cells. So the DNA sample is sent to a central laboratory, the DNA is extracted, and using these tools where you can sequence very targeted areas on 2 genes, we can determine with a very high degree of accuracy if any of these early precancerous changes have occurred, as well as cancer. So anything along the spectrum, from early precancer all the way to cancer, can be detected with a very high negative predictive value, so very, very low false negative rates. And so based on the results of that test, which come back in about a week, the physician can make the appropriate recommendations. 30 million Americans today, by existing established American College of Gastroenterology guidelines, should be tested and are not. Only about 5% of them are being tested. Our test has a Medicare price of about $2,000, just under $2,000. So this is a huge market opportunity right here in the US. And so our small team is focused on starting to capture some of that market opportunity here. On the commercialization side, we now have a very well-established path. We can talk to physicians. It's not that hard to get. It's very straightforward to explain to physicians. There's esophageal cancer, there's heartburn, there's a relationship between the two of them, there's an alternative to an endoscopy that can be done in 2 minutes. All of that goes really well. We've established this whole model around how we have nurse practitioners who can co-locate at physician offices and come, let's say, once a week or once a month. We call it our satellite testing program, similar to like having a phlebotomist in a physician's office. So all of those elements are well established. We know how to even do direct-to-consumer marketing, where we have marketing collateral that teaches patients on how to understand this relationship. And so all of that is humming. What we're down to is that last mile of translating this market opportunity, test volume growth, claims submissions into reliable reimbursement, which is really has 2 elements to it. One of them is seeking medical policy coverage, positive medical policy coverage from private payers as well as Medicare. A big milestone for us coming up this year is we're in the final stages of having all the data that we need to submit for Medicare reimbursement under an existing final and effective local coverage determination. So that's going to be a big event for us. And then there's a whole nother world here, which is direct contracting, including diagnostic tests. Again, this is not something that we commonly think about with medical devices, let's say, but for a test, it's actually increasingly common to include a diagnostic test like a cancer or pre-cancer screening test within a health and wellness benefit program. So completely separate from the traditional insurance submitted claims, and we're just getting started on that. It's extremely exciting because whether it's a self-insured entity like a union or an actual employer, they care about their members or their employees, and the opportunity to take their health and wellness benefit program and not just include weight loss programs or nutrition or the kind of typical smoking cessation, typical things, but an actual opportunity to provide testing for their employees or for their participants is something that's exciting, and we're gearing up to really push hard on that this year. So those are the two big areas.